to the next session. So we'll be handling the next session where we'll be having to talk about the new thing, the new level in Google Build Action. So it will be telling us how we could know how to build action. For those people that I believe in one way or the other we've come in contact with build actions, like OK Google. Yeah. So we are going to that session now, whereby we'll be looking at what has changed, what is the new thing, the next level in build action. Carlos, are you on the line yet? Okay. Hi, Carlo. Your mic is muted. Yeah. Hi.
Hi everyone. Thanks for the opportunity today.
Yeah, welcome to the session. Thanks for joining us.
Okay. It's here too. Hi everyone. First of all, thanks for the opportunity today. I am excited to this day, and many thanks to the Akoko GDG all the team for the opportunity. It's great what you do for the community, right? After all, sharing what we know is great. It's a way we grow as individual professionals. So when today I have a topic for you. Maybe you know the Google Assistant, taking your action to the next level, get into Action Builder, a new tool for build our actions. But okay, we can start. A little about me. I am Android developer. I love Android. Someone saying, "What are you doing in Assistant?" Because around 2016, when I saw the Google I/O in that jar, we for first time, how do Google Assistant can improve our life? So for that reason, I start to research and try to get more information about this new platform, Google Assistant, and how to build application for that. So actually, I working as in the mobile areas. I part of the GDG Cloud Lima. You could search us in the network, please. And I am part of the Google Developer Expert Program too. So that's all me. If you want to talk later, maybe you could search me in a platform as a Toure, in GitHub, Medium, even LinkedIn. Well, in Twitter, I have a problem because the name Toure was taken, so I had to add underline score for give this name. But today we are not talking about me. We are talking about Google Assistant. We all know the typical machine about, hey, Google talk about something. Hey, Google give me information about, I don't know, the weather, my task, my schedule. It's a personal, a virtual assistant that allows to us to interact with all the APIs of Google. So, but it is not the final step. We say, how can go ahead more? How can I improve this kind of option for Google Assistant? That is why I'm talking today about how to create your own application for the Google Assistant. But we need to talk about why we do this. Why is a motivation? You know, there are approximately 2 billion people with maybe a visual impairment around the world. Not it's all about the visual. You have there are another people with injuries, spinal cord, sclerosis, cerebral palsy, Parkinson, etc. So these are reality. If we talk about numbers, we talk about 1 people, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 1 billion approximately and more. These are data from the 2018 from the OMS. Why I'm talking about you from that? Because when I am talking about, okay, making a great application, all people think, oh, application, okay, maybe an application in Kotlin, maybe an application in Swift, in Flutter could be. A great application with great graphics, great performance, great, I don't know, navigation could be. But what about other people I am talking before? What about if you have a close friend, familiar, with maybe a difficult visual or a basic, difficult physical motor, for example, uh, they don't have the opportunity or make maybe the abilities to improve to interact with our application, because an application is not a graphic user interface in a mobile. An application is a way we create, we as a developer create a tool for interact between a problem, a solution, and us. For that reason, I am talking today about actions on Google, on the another way to say voice user interface. And why we are talking about voice user interface? Because the conversation is more natural for us. We are not born from our mother's womb by logging my user password in some graphic interface in some cell phone. No, no. We are born in doing some of kind of crying in the most cases, because again the conversation is the most natural for us. So when we are talking in maybe devices to develop a voice user interface app, we are thinking in Alexa, maybe in Siri of Apple, or in this case, Google Assistant. It's important to talk about this because we have the opportunity to think out the box and not always, okay, make a great application today for Android, for iOS, in Kotlin, in Flutter. Again, there are many frameworks for create great user interface. I don't say that it's bad, it's cool indeed, but we also need to see in another people that can interact very well with application. That is what my motive. I want to tell us my motivation for do Google Assistant apps, because I changed the paradigm for build only GUI apps, graphic user interface apps. I have the motivation to write voice user interface apps. And this is a great first step, because not you know are, for example, when you are developing for Android, okay, I developing for Android or for iOS. No, when you are developing for Google Assistant, you are developing for a big ecosystem. Google Assistant is distributed in Android phones, iOS phone, maybe Pixel books, Android TV, Android Auto, smart speakers, smart earphones, wearables, etc. It's a great ecosystem to start with this kind of platform. So for finally this part, I want to say, maybe people say, oh, the technology. Yeah, the technology was created to make our life easier. Not just that, the technology could be for empowering the people, maybe with difficult physical difficulties to perform everyday tasks. Um, I have my grandmother. She's not here with us, but I remember her because she has difficult for problem in her knees to stand up and maybe turn on off the lights, or maybe take with her hands the newspaper, or maybe open a computer and search about seismic, because I'm from Peru. In Peru, there are many systems every seisms, earthquakes, a little earthquakes all days. So she want to know, oh, where is the last earthquake, maybe the last saints, okay? But with her hands, she can search that in Google, or maybe stand up again and look for the newspaper and try to do that little task as a turn off a light, as a search information at Google that could be looks like normally for us, for another people it's not. So it's another reason, or maybe another motivation for do a voice application, empowering people to do his normal task. Well, as in the Google I/O 2018, make good things together. We are a community and we can grow together. Well, and that's all. What is my motivation to start to talk about today about action of Google application for the Google system? What is the path or the journey that the user says when I start to talk about Google Assistant? Well, first the user says a query. Maybe when say, hey Google, give me some information about anything, or hey Google, what is today in my calendar? I don't know. There is a query. The query could be with your voice, or if you are using a smart display, and you are using your phone iOS, Android could be iPhone too. You can use the graphic interface for Google Assistant too. But the main idea here is you could use this user query in voice of a graphic user input, and Google Assistant process this in his engine of NLU, natural language understand. That is converted in a user input and pass it to a conversational action, our application, and return as a way as a response. Action will process again this response and show us in different ways. If we are using a smart speaker, that show us maybe a sound response, audible response. And if we are using a smart display, maybe or our phones, they show Google Assistant show us maybe a graphic card, another kind of response. But this, in simple words, all the path the action on Google throw between the user, our action, and Google Assistant. And talking about natural language understand, what kind of part we are talking about here? We are talking about identify intents, the way of all the Google Assistant match what he can do. For example, I am talking from an application for restaurants. Here, restaurant, give me the prices for a soup. Maybe I want to buy a soup, and the action response. But what about see I talking to the same action about restaurant? Please give me information about the last bike, ride bike, or mountain bike. The application doesn't know how to respond to us. So this, when I say identify intents, the capabilities of our intent in our action to respond us. Obviously, this pastoral provide training phrases on how the engine of our natural language understanding engine in Google Assistant improve their capabilities. And last one, with that, with identify intents and provide training phrases, Google Assistant can expand his comprehension. We can do that. How? Well, someone said me too, why need to provide training phrases or try to identify intents? What is important? Google Assistant do that? Yes, can do that alone, but there are many ways to say something in even in Spanish. I'm a native Spanish. Many ways to say something in English. For example, when I am talking, okay, yes, do it, fine, Raja, okay, of course, yeah, sure, go ahead, copy that, vale, that's in Spanish. Órale, some friends in Mexico say that. All right, yep, correct, why not? The same way to say on to another person an affirmative response, okay, yes, there could be expressed in many ways. For that reason, we have to not process that with an if else, if we are talking in code, if else the user say do it, if the user say yes, or the user say correct, why not? Do that. No, for that reason we have in the necessity to have a natural language engine for process all this information. That's not all. They are another real life cases, as in understand interruption when someone could have your conversation, a lot for cars, I don't know, noise in the sound. It's important to take in mind all this situation, because when you are develop an action, your action could be affected by external topics. Wait, okay, so we are talking all this and create a conversation model. To create our conversation model, we have to process the user input in the natural language understand engine, as I told you, of Google Assistant, and then generate a response, our conversation logic. But how can we do that? Well, we have Dialogflow. Dialogflow is a good NLP platform, natural language platform for throw good, in fact, together with Google Assistant. That is the platform. But from about started this year, Google created his own platform for develop our action. And why? Because Dialogflow is bad? No, The problem is Dialogflow is thinking to develop chatbot. Chatbot is not the same to create an assistant than a chatbot. It could be improved, maybe orientated to create an assistant application, but there's a difference between an assistant and a chatbot. So Dialogflow gives us this kind of path to create intents, to create maybe entities, knowledge engine, and provide a machine learning engine too, very powerful in the Google Cloud, but not always responds all the way we are thinking as a conversation in this platform. Maybe another reason why we changed from Dialogflow to this platform I'll talk to you today. So Dialogflow is not migrating about Actions Builder platform. It's a web IDE, a new IDE for develop actions. Dialogflow is that? No. Just the Google team for Actions create this new platform for improve how we develop our actions. So talk about Action Builder. Action Builder is a great tool when we can to develop, test, and deploy our actions in one place. Remember Dialogflow, we have to develop in Dialogflow. Where is? Okay. We have to then make click in integration, click in test in Google Assistant, and return to the action on Google Console platform. And we have to are playing between two platforms, right? But with Action Builder right now, we have three options to develop, test, and deploy in only one platform. And the best part of this, we have a conversational flow. This is different to have our intents in one line. And we have graphically how our action is moving through the conversation. And what about the main feature of Dialogflow? Create a unique machine learning model in Google Cloud. Well, that kind of feature is maintained right now in Action Builder 2. You create your own machine learning engine for each different projects. It's provided in Google Assistant 2. And have to your debug tool in the same platform. For example, this is the console of Action on Google, the classic that doesn't change. But for example, I've talked in this project, I have the classic enter, but I have the option I mentioned to you, develop, test, and deploy. Maybe click on the first one. It have in this time a graphic, a way to see how our action is started. For example, here say, when user says, hablar con pre-OpenLab or talk to test OpenLab. It's a name of a random application I create for test actions. But we know how is the flow, how is the path of our action. Action Builder show us where start the action, when next, and where this later. So we can start our main invocation, put a name for our invocation. We can continue and create an action or maybe a task for what happened when the user says, talk with my action. Oh, okay, I can continue with another thing. We are talking about this thing later. We say different option, what happened with enter, condition, how to manage the index of the user. So we have all together in the same platform. Instead of Dialogflow, we have to play in between two platforms and try to understand in what line flow. And in this time, we have a graphic flow for see how is the path, the journey of our actions. Well, this is the platform we can see right now. Okay, Action Builder have the capabilities for profile your user inputs and generate a response. We have new concept here, intent and type. Well, that is not new. And we have to migrate to scenes and prompts. That's all the concept we are talking today. And if you are saying what kind of difference have between Dialogflow and Action Builder, for example, If you are talking before here with Dialogflow, doesn't matter. There are many similar concepts as entities, but right now it's calling types. We have response, and now as our prompts. So that is the equivalent. If you don't, where is my entities? No, right now it's called types. And where is my response? Well, right now it's called prompts. But when we are talking about intent, we have another similarities. We have training phrases, parameter annotation when we capture some words of our intent or phrase. And how is in Action Builder? The same. Does not change. The intent maintain their training phrases and parameter annotation. But here we start to change a little. The intents before in Dialogflow have the capability for training phrases, parameter annotation, as we said, the manage of the context, create or set our webhooks, and make a response, right? But in Action Builder, that's called a scene. And this thing have the state management, webhook, prompts, and that is different because the manage of the context is not already in the side of the intent, is in this moment in the scenes. What does mean? What does mean a scene? A scene represents a state of your conversation. We can return to the example of the restaurant. When you are talking about first thing, if we are develop an application in Dialogflow, we have to take the order in a restaurant. Please, I want to order a soup. We have to take the order, ask about if you want to pay with cash or our digital way, or maybe a credit card. Another that's one intent, take the order. Another intent to take the way of pay. Another intent to say maybe, do you want anything else? Maybe a juice, maybe a dessert. And so we are talking about three different intents. And in the Dialogflow, to say to our application, they are part of the same context. We need to pass through these intents a context. But with the Actions Builder, we change this part. We change in a scene. What is our first thing in this case? To take a command for the restaurant. Take our order, take our pay way of pay, bill, digital, cash, maybe credit card, and maybe ask for another dessert. So the things now is maybe how do intents can capture the information, but in the same context. The things now contain our intents, and I think can invoke another thing. But even the intent for one scene can invoke another scene. Finally, if we are already complete all the path of how to build a scene and how to ask something to the user, they ask to the user, okay, this is your information you are looking for. Dialogflow, again, with in information about the intent, you say, oh, but I put in my intent, my phrases training, maybe another phrase training, our webhooks, right? Okay. But when we are talking about the scenes, just the scene contain the intent and their training phrases, but the webhook is outside of this. Why? Because we are developing one intent, one webhook, sorry, one function webhook for one intent, another webhook function for another intent, and then. So to change that, dialog action will say, okay, we need to build one webhook that we can manage our essence without don't create unnecessarily webhooks for one context. That's the way how to you manage all in one essence. So now we have, for example, two intents, one webhook, and that webhook can respond to both with the same information. Maybe if you are imagining you are processing about how to say thank you, and you are in the intent for paying, or another intent for ask for a dessert, both can say thank you, and it's not necessary to create two webhooks for each different intent. You can say the same information in one intent. The cloud architecture is maintained because you can use for deploy your webhooks cloud functions, cloud function in Google Cloud, in Fibers. You can use App Engine, for example, App Engine for develop in Java or in another language. You can use a Stackdriver to manage the logs and errors in your application, and maybe connect with another cloud function to deploy some information. Also, you can ask external APIs or to make requests or make additional information that you can manage in your code and make it with another external API. So that's why Action Builder changed a lot today, because they giving us the capability or thinking not in a one line of intents. Instead of, we have a graphic flow completely to see how all the journey of about action on Google. Also provides with this launch with Action Builder and Actions SDK for do that. For finally, what about Dialogflow is dead? Dialogflow is not dead, it's between us. Remember when you create an application in the console of Action Google, in a little part in the bottom of the page, we are saying Dialogflow, because Dialogflow is available to develop an Action Google too. It's not a problem, but Google recommend to use Action Builder. That means that your currently Dialogflow apps in Actions is dead? No, but again, it's recommended to migrate to the new platform for these new features and concepts. So Dialogflow is not dead. In fact, evolved in a new platform called Dialogflow CX and Dialogflow Essentials. Very similar to Action Builder, but we have another feature here and maybe another tag to talk about this. Here's the links of the communities for Google. We can you can search Ash in Reddit, in Twitter, in Medium, all the thing of actions, and that's all. Thanks to you for the opportunity. I know that is very quickly. Maybe we can do workshop later, but I very happy you for the opportunity to stay with you today. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Tore, Carlo, for the wonderful session. That has really been so great. And thank you for enlightening us on the next level in action build. And I believe that, I don't know what's, probably, of course, there's going to be a question and answer session soon. After this, the next speaker, we're going to have a question and answer. So such that we'll be able to, I believe that the audience has a lot of questions about the next level in build action. And I believe we would love to talk about it and answer the questions. So before we move on, I will quickly just chip this in. So my own action, I don't know, probably you guys have learned something from Carlo's talk. For me, I think I've learned a lot, and I believe everyone has next action words now to talk about. So you can connect with Carlo on Twitter at Tore. So if you could follow him as well, I strongly recommend that you follow him. Yeah, I strongly recommend that you follow him so that you could, if you have any follow-up questions or enlightenment, or you could be able to connect with him and ask him personally. Yeah. So I believe his DM is open to attend to questions. Yeah.